We are building the number hunt project from the YByte Python curriculum. Previously, we have set up the while loop and these if conditions which allow us to interact with the computer, allow us to keep guessing till we are able to guess the number that the computer has chosen. Before moving forward, I want to just highlight a few mistakes that can potentially render this into an infinite loop, which means a loop that will never get over, which is obviously not a desirable situation. Let's look at a few such mistakes. Some of these are very, very interesting. So let's pay attention to this. First thing first, let's say I forget to set my done to true. So in this case, let's say I just, to highlight my point, I just comment this out. Now notice what happens is when this loop runs, let's say it says guess a number. So I say, for example, 12, lots than that. So I say 34, say 67, say 89, smaller than that. So probably say around 75, say maybe 78. Okay, so it's between 75 and 78. We know this, so try 76. Say it has to be 77. It is 77. But notice what happened here. It told me I took 8 attempts to complete this, all right. But then again, it went back and asked me, guess, input this number, because I'm forgetting to set my done to true. And hence this loop will just keep running. Now this is kind of obvious that, the point is that whenever we have a flag, we have a Boolean, we must make sure its value changes within the loop so that the loop can actually get over. Let's say I do this, as I was doing it, let's say I indeed do this correctly, but I make an indentation error. Let's say I put this as an unindented statement. Now this is very interesting because notice what's happening is that my while loop is only limited to say this part of the code. Now this is again an infinite loop because unfortunately because of indentation, since I have unindented this entire if condition, in fact the Python interpreter, this has gotten out of the while loop, which means that now when I run this, it's going to just keep telling me number is equal or less than. It won't even come to this code because this loop will never exit. And notice that inside this part of the code, which is the while loop, the done is always basically false. So let's just see this. We can illustrate this in action. Says guess the number. Say I say 12. Says larger than that. So I say 45. Says larger than that. Let's say I say 56. Says 78. Say 89. Say smaller than that. I say maybe 80. Larger than that. In fact, it will never get. So even if I guess the number correctly, it basically will just keep me say in these two layer. It's never going to get out of this because in fact this condition where it checks for equality is not even a part of this loop. Now to fix this, very simple, just be careful for the indentation. Remember all these three conditions were at kind of like a same level of logic, so they must be at an equal indent. To be careful here, and hence these three must be equally indented. Let's also look at an interesting scenario. Let's say I unindented by mistake, did not give indentation to the second one. Now this is equally bad because what's happening now is that this entire piece of code is not part of a while loop, because remember the while loop ends when the indentation ends, and now this is not a part of while loop at all. So basically if I were to stop this and run, my code will never even tell me the number is larger. Let's say I said, so notice the 12 was basically the number was larger than 12, but I was not told this because this was not even executed. So be careful on this. Notice indentation is how the entire loop is being defined. In this code, the indentation is getting over at line number 15 itself. So like I said, all these three have to be at equal level of indentation, and this done has to be set to true. And this is how you can ensure that you're not ending in an infinite loop. The game, we can just see it working once again. So say, okay, so there's an error that time. Okay, so make sure that all these three are at equal levels of indentation, and inside this if again an indentation is followed. So notice when I run this, it runs quite well, and I have, like, for example, say 12, say 34, say 56, 45, say 50. So let's say 47. It has to be 46, and that's the right answer. So just be careful on these small points because these are important. They're telling you about how the language works and also how the logic gets interpreted according to what we are writing here. If this way of learning appeals to you, do look at our website. You'll find tons and tons of activities where we learn Python programming through such fun activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.